Guide. In Terraria, the very first guy you meet is the guide. He literally spawns right next to you when you start a new world, and he looks like the dude who knows everything. But let's be honest, half the time his tips are so obvious you just want to smack your keyboard.
Really?
His main job is showing crafting recipes. Drop any item on him and he tells you what it can make. For beginners, that's a lifesaver, because without him, you'd waste hours just guessing. But here's the twist. This helpful friend is also the key to unlocking hard mode. Honestly, this is the best loot in the whole game. I'm counting on you. Now let's get back to it. If you throw the guide voodoo doll into lava, it summons the wall of flesh. And if that's your first time doing it by accident, yeah, good luck, because that boss will steamroll everything. Back in the day, the guide used to shoot plain wooden arrows, and in hard mode, he switched to flaming arrows. Cute, but not really useful for defending anything. In patch 1.4, they upgraded his dialogue with way more tips, so he doesn't sound as dumb as he used to. And honestly, even if you think he's useless, without the guide, the world of Terraria just feels kinda empty. Merchant. Once you've got about 50 silver in your pocket and an empty room ready, the merchant just shows up. He's basically the businessman of Terraria. Always ready with torches, ropes, potions, and all the little junk you desperately need at the start. Nice. The first time I met him, it felt like a lifesaver. Darkness everywhere, monsters closing in, and he's like, "Hey dude, buy a torch already." In a fight, he's no boss slayer, but he does throw knives at zombies trying to break into your house. And after the 1.4 update, he got picky. He has this whole happiness system. Stick him in the right biome with the right neighbors, and suddenly he's giving you discounts. Sometimes he even unlocks extra items when he's in a good mood. The funniest part is how his shop changes with the situation. Windy day, he's selling pinwheels. Hard mode unlocked, boom, sharpening station. Let him live in the jungle and he'll pull out a furnace like it's no big deal. It's like he's saying, "See, I'm useful. Don't kick me out." Honestly, without the merchant, early Terraria would feel like stumbling in the dark. He's that first buddy who doesn't share memes. He sells you torches instead. Nurse. The nurse shows up once you've made a bit of progress. Your max health is higher than the starting 100, and you've got a free room. And then here she comes, white uniform, ready to drain your gold for every scratch you've got. She's the only NPC in Terraria that can fully heal you and even remove debuffs. Poison, bleeding, cursed inferno, all gone with one click. But free? Nah. The worse your condition, the higher the bill. Sometimes you've already burned through gold on potions, and she's asking for even more just to patch you up. Old school players remember when the nurse was the ultimate boss cheese. You'd build your arena, plop her down next to it, get wrecked by the Eye of Cthulhu, or even the Destroyer, then run to her, full heal, and jump back into the fight. Before version 1.3.0.1,
Really?
this was a full-on exploit until the devs nerfed her Immortal Clinic. Still, the nurse remains one of the most clutch NPCs in the game. You come crawling back from the dungeon with one heart left, mobs everywhere, and she's the one keeping you alive. Annoying prices or not, you'll sprint into her house yelling, "Take my gold, just don't let me die." Goblin Tinkerer. The Goblin Tinkerer shows up after you've defeated the Goblin army. You'll find him tied up underground, like some goblin hostage just waiting to be rescued. Free him and he moves in, unlocking one of the most important shops in the entire game. His main feature is reforging. That's the system where you hand him your gear, pay a pile of gold, and he re-rolls the modifier. Sometimes you hit the jackpot with legendary or warding, and sometimes it feels like he just robbed you blind. Players even call it the goblin tax, because reforging eats your savings faster than any boss ever could. His shop also sells rocket boots, the Tinkerer's workshop for combining accessories, and spiky balls. Thanks to him, you can finally craft endgame level gear, stuff like lightning boots or even the cell phone if you're dedicated enough. His personality fits perfectly. Classic grumpy goblin, always complaining, always sounding like he'd rather be anywhere else. But let's be real, without him, Terraria wouldn't be the same. Reforging is what takes your gear from meh to epic, and the Goblin Tinkerer is the guy making it happen, whether you like his prices or not. Witch Doctor. The Witch Doctor moves in after you defeat the Queen Bee. He shows up wearing a tribal mask, looking like a shaman straight out of a jungle horror flick, and immediately starts selling exotic gear. His biggest value is for summoner players. He's the one who sells the pygmy necklace and tiki armor once you're in hard mode and have beaten Plantera. That makes him essential if you want to roll with a full army of minions. His shop changes depending on where he lives. Place him in the jungle during hard mode and he'll sell the pygmy staff, your first real summoner staff. He's also got the pet snake, the blowgun, the imbuing station, and other oddities that add a creepy edge to your world. His dialogue is strange too, full of talk about spirits and tribes. For old players, he always felt a little unsettling, like he belonged in some horror mod, but that's part of his charm. The Witch Doctor reminds you that Terraria isn't just a bright pixel world. It's also dangerous jungles and dark rituals. In combat, he's not useless either. He'll whip out a blowgun to defend himself. But his real importance is giving summoner builds the love they need. Without him, that whole class would feel half-baked. Clothier. The Clothier appears after you defeat Skeletron. Before that, he's just the old man standing outside the dungeon. Talk to him at night and accept his curse, and boom, Skeletron spawns. Beat the boss and the curse is broken, turning the old man into the Clothier. His shop is all about outfits and vanity sets. The big one is the Familiar set, which resets your character's look back to the default starter appearance. He also sells tons of costumes, stuff like the Butcher's Apron or the Vampire outfit, but a lot of those only show up during events like Halloween or a Blood Moon. His dialogue constantly references the curse, Skeletron, and dark magic. Old players love that you can actually get the Clothier voodoo doll, and if you kill him at night while holding it, you can summon Skeletron again. It feels a little brutal. You're literally sacrificing your own NPC just to fight the boss one more time. Overall, he represents the dungeon vibe in Terraria. Curses, creepy lore, and one of the most iconic boss fights in the game. Mechanic. You'll find the mechanic tied up inside the dungeon only after you've taken down Skeletron. She looks like a regular girl in overalls, but she unlocks an entirely new side of Terraria. Wires, traps, and full-on automation. Without her, Terraria is just swords and pickaxes. With her, it becomes an engineering sandbox. Her shop is packed with gadgets. Wires, levers, switches, pressure plates, timers, plus tools like the wire cutter and wrench. Suddenly you can make anything from simple lamps that switch on automatically to full boss arenas filled with traps. In hard mode, her inventory gets even bigger, giving you more tools for crazy contraptions. Fans always joke that she's basically the sister of the Demolitionist. They both love blowing things up. Her dialogue is full of techie quips, always talking about connecting things, building circuits, or how everything could use a little wiring. In combat, she swings her wrench, which isn't exactly OP, but it's fitting. Her real power is letting you design. If you've ever set up a trap arena or built some overcomplicated elevator system, you owe that to the mechanic. She's the NPC that makes Terraria feel limitless once you start tinkering. Tax Collector. The Tax Collector doesn't just stroll into your town like a normal NPC. You actually have to find a tortured soul wandering in the underworld and purify him with the Dryad's purification powder. Only then does he turn into the Tax Collector. He's the one NPC that literally gets cured of a curse and ends up becoming useful. His job is simple but clutch. He collects taxes from all your other NPCs. Every minute he racks up a bit of gold and you can swing by to claim it. The max payout is 10 gold if all your NPCs are happy and housed properly. Basically, he's a walking ATM that just keeps printing money for you. His dialogue is non-stop grumbling about everyone owing him something. He sounds like a cranky old accountant who hates his job but still does it anyway. Old players love to joke that he's the most valuable NPC in the game. He literally pays you for doing nothing. He's passive income personified. Without the Tax Collector, Terraria is just way more broke. Pirate. The pirate shows up after you survive the pirate invasion. That's the event where an army of pirates storms your world with cannons, parrots, and even flying ships. Beat them back, and one of their own moves into your town like nothing happened. He looks every bit the cliche pirate. Eye patch, hook hand, full yo-ho-ho energy. His shop is a mix of firepower and pure memes. He sells the cannon and cannonballs so you can unleash your own bombardments. You can grab a parrot pet from him, plus pirate-themed furniture, flags, and decorations. In hard mode, his stock expands with even more goodies, including full pirate outfits so you can cosplay as a corsair. His dialogue is constant pirate banter, yar, matey, and plenty of rum jokes. Old school players always loved him because he turns your base into something that feels more like a Caribbean tavern than a survival bunker. And in combat, the pirate doesn't just stand around. He pulls out a pistol, and if you've got a cannon nearby, he'll even use it. Watching him blast enemies feels like he never really left the invasion. With him around, Terraria gets a little less serious and a whole lot more yo-ho-ho. Truffle. The Truffle only shows up if you build him a house in a glowing mushroom biome during hard mode. He's picky. You can't just drop him anywhere. He needs that weird blue mushroom vibe, or he's not moving in. And when he finally does, he looks like a giant mushroom with a face, straight out of some quirky anime. His shop is a treasure trove for late-game players. After you beat Plantera, he sells the Auto Hammer, which is how you craft Shroomite bars. And Shroomite armor? That's basically god-tier gear for rangers. Without Truffle, you'll never get it. He also sells mushroom-themed weapons like the Mushroom Spear and Hamish, plus mushroom blocks and furniture so you can deck out your base like some trippy fairy tale. His dialogue is full of mushroom puns and oddball humor. Half the time it feels like he's trolling you, but that's the charm. He's the kind of NPC that reminds you Terraria is supposed to be weird. In combat, he attacks with mushroom spores, which looks ridiculous but actually does decent crowd control. Truffle isn't essential for every class, but once he's around, the game feels more magical and way stranger, in the best way. Wizard. The Wizard only appears once hard mode begins. You'll find him tied up deep underground, looking like the classic bearded old mage who's just been stuck there for ages. Free him, and he moves in to become your go-to source for magical gear. His shop is a dream for mage players. He sells the Crystal Ball, which gives a buff to magic damage, and the Spell Tome, which you can upgrade into powerful magic books. He's also got the Ice Rod, greater mana potions, and even vanity stuff like mannequins. Basically, if it shines, glows, or shoots sparkles, he's probably the one selling it. His dialogue is a mix of goofy wisdom and pop culture nods. Sometimes he sounds like a wise sage, other times like he's forgotten what spell he was casting. Back in patch 1.2, the devs added more lines for him, making him feel a lot more like a quirky character than just a vendor. In combat, the wizard throws magic bolts that look like sparks. It's not huge DPS, but it fits perfectly. An old wizard defending himself with simple spells. For mage builds, though, he's essential. Without him, magic in Terraria would feel incomplete. Steampunker. The Steampunker shows up after you've defeated one of the mechanical bosses in hard mode, the Destroyer, the Twins, or Skeletron Prime. Right away, she stands out with her full steampunk look, goggles, top hat, and that Victorian engineer vibe. Her shop is game-changing for builders. The highlight is the Clentiminator, a giant gun that sprays solutions to cleanse or spread biomes. With it, you can finally control Corruption, Crimson, and Hallow instead of just watching them eat your world alive. She also sells the jetpack, teleporter, steampunk wings, cogs, and a ton of machinery-style decorations. Without her, Terraria would basically collapse under infection. She's the reason you can actually manage your world's balance once hard mode chaos kicks in. Her dialogue is full of snarky scientist-style comments. She acts like everyone else is behind the times, and she's here to bring progress. Old players joke that without her, your world would end up looking post-apocalyptic because nobody else sells the Clentiminator. In combat, she pulls out a pistol, so she's not totally defenseless. But her real strength isn't bullets. It's keeping your world clean, functional, and just a little more stylish in true steampunk fashion. Cyborg. The Cyborg shows up only after you've taken down Plantera. He looks straight out of an 80s sci-fi flick, half man, half machine, rocking a cyber soldier outfit with a glowing eye and metal implants. His arrival marks the moment Terraria really dives into high-tech territory. His shop is all about explosives and gadgets. He sells the Proximity Mine Launcher, advanced rocket types, Rocket 2, 3, and 4, nanites for crafting nanobullets, plus logic sensors and other electronic toys for wiring builds. If you're into blowing stuff up or building crazy contraptions, he's your guy. His dialogue leans heavy into sci-fi and cyberpunk references. He drops lines like, "Resistance is futile," or cracks jokes about upgrading being mandatory. He always feels like he doesn't quite belong in the same world as wooden huts and slime farms, and that's what makes him stand out. In combat, the Cyborg isn't shy. He pulls out a rocket launcher, blasting enemies in a way no other NPC really does. It's chaotic and awesome to watch. For many players, the Cyborg is more than a vendor. He's proof you've survived the jungle grind, beaten Plantera, and pushed Terraria into its next era. Futuristic weapons, explosions, and pure chaos. Santa Claus. Santa Claus only appears during the Christmas season. After December 15th, if you defeat the Frost Legion, he'll move into your world. And just like in real life, he's temporary. Once January 1st hits, he's gone. He's one of the few seasonal NPCs in Terraria, which makes him feel extra special. His shop is pure holiday spirit. He sells the Santa suit, hat, jacket, and pants, plus tons of Christmas decorations, lights, presents, trees, wreaths. Basically, everything you need to turn your base into a pixel winter wonderland. Old school players always joke that Terraria's Santa looks a little creepy. The beard and red suit are there, but the sprite has this weird uncle vibe instead of a jolly gift giver. Still, he brings the festive atmosphere, and that's the whole point. In combat, Santa isn't defenseless either. He literally throws presents at enemies as weapons. It looks completely ridiculous, but that's what makes him memorable. Santa Claus doesn't affect game balance at all, but when he shows up, the entire vibe of Terraria shifts. For a few days each year, your survival world feels less like a grind and more like a holiday special. Princess. The princess only shows up once you've got pretty much every other NPC in the game. She's kind of the endgame resident, the final touch that proves your town is complete. Dressed in a crown and royal gown, she stands out immediately as the most elegant character in Terraria. Her shop is focused on luxury and atmosphere. She sells royal furniture, palace-style decorations, and of course her own royal dress, so you can look as regal as she does. One of her coolest offerings is music boxes with some of Terraria's best tracks, letting you bring the game's soundtrack right into your base. What really sets her apart is how she interacts with other NPCs. In the happiness system, she's the only one who gets along with everyone. Place her next to anyone and there's no complaining, just discounts and good vibes. That makes her the ultimate peacekeeper in your town. In combat, the princess isn't helpless. She blasts enemies with beams of light. It's more pretty than powerful, but it fits perfectly. She's less about stats and more about symbolism. Having the princess means you've gathered them all, and now your Terraria world feels complete. Traveling Merchant. The Traveling Merchant shows up randomly during the day once you've got at least a couple of NPCs living in town. He wanders in with his tent, stays until sunset, and every single time his inventory is a total gamble. Sometimes it's junk, sometimes it's absolute game changers. His best items include the Celestial Magnet for mage builds, the Code 1 yo-yo with solid early damage, Dynasty Wood for players who want that sleek Asian-style architecture, and building tools like the paint sprayer. In later updates, he can also bring quirky stuff like fancy dishes, the exotic chew toy for pets, or even an angel halo. Occasionally, he sells music boxes with unique tracks, which is pure collector gold. The thing about the traveling merchant is the randomness. He's Terraria's slot machine. Old players joke that he's the gambler NPC. Sometimes you blow all your gold on a useless vase, and other times he's got the exact item you've been waiting months for. What really matters is his vibe. Every time he appears, it feels like checking the Steam sale. You just have to see what he's brought this time. Painter. The painter doesn't show up right away. You need at least 8 other NPCs in town, and then he moves in with his giant stash of jars and brushes. He's basically the art nerd of Terraria, turning your world into one big canvas. His shop is full of paints, paintbrushes, and unique paintings that actually depend on where he lives. Old players joke that the painter is the NPC for when you've already beaten all the bosses, and now your true enemy is boring wooden walls. He's the guy that keeps your house from looking like a survival shack. And his dialogue? Full of cheeky references to Mona Lisa and classic art memes. In combat, he's not totally useless either. He throws shurikens when monsters get close. But let's be real, his real value is style. The painter is the reason your NPCs live in cozy homes instead of ugly boxes, and the reason your base actually looks like somewhere you'd want to hang out. Dye Trader. The Dye Trader shows up once you bring back your first strange plant, or sometimes an exotic fish. He's basically the stylish guy of Terraria. Shows up looking like he just walked off a runway. His whole deal is dyes. Hand him a strange plant, and he'll trade it for a rare dye. These dyes actually change the look of your armor, weapons, and accessories. Old players remember before the 1.3 update, he was the one-stop shop for special dyes until the devs reworked the system. What makes him fun is his personality. The guy talks like a total snob, always acting like he's way too fancy for your shabby wooden hut. That sarcasm hits especially hard when you're living in a box made of dirt and he's lecturing you about aesthetic standards. In combat, he's not a powerhouse. His real value is the customization. Without him, your character looks bland, but with the right dyes, you can turn your loadout into a glowing neon warrior, a shadow assassin, or just a walking meme. If you care about style in Terraria, the Dye Trader is your go-to guy. Zoologist. The Zoologist moves in once you've filled about 10% of the bestiary. That usually happens early on, just from smashing slimes, zombies, and every bunny that hops in your way. She looks like a wolf girl, and yeah, it's canon. During a full moon, she literally transforms into a wolf. Total fan service, and old players still laugh about that detail. Her real value is her shop. The Zoologist sells tons of vanity items and unique gear. She's the one who gives you pet licenses, dog, cat, bunny, so you can finally stop feeling lonely in your giant dirt hut. She also sells pylons for teleportation, flutes, the town slime whistle, and even a katana once you hit hard mode. What makes her unique is that her inventory scales with your bestiary progress. The more enemies you've documented, the more she has in stock. No other NPC really grows alongside your exploration like that, so she feels tied to your adventure. In combat, she defends herself with throwing knives, but the real charm is that Pokemon vibe. Catch everything, log it, and she rewards you with new toys. Without her, Terraria would miss that little spark of discovery that makes the grind fun. Golfer. The Golfer is one of the biggest NPCs in Terraria. You literally find him trapped in the desert, just chilling in green pants like he's lost on vacation. Rescue him, and suddenly Terraria has golf. Yeah, actual golf. His shop is packed with clubs, balls, and random accessories. And it's not just a joke. The game actually tracks your golf score. You can build courses, smack balls across biomes, and watch your friends question why you're golfing in a survival sandbox. When the devs added him in 1.4, it felt like pure trolling, but in the best way possible. He's got unique items too. The golf whistle to recall balls, the golf cart mount so you can literally drive around, and prices that drop if you actually play golf. The game rewards you for leaning into the meme. In combat, he defends himself by whacking enemies with golf balls, which looks as ridiculous as it sounds. But that's the whole charm. Terraria is about bosses, grinding, and danger. And then here's this guy reminding you that sometimes it's okay to tee off in the middle of an apocalypse. Party Girl. The Party Girl is way rarer than most NPCs. She's got only a 2.5% chance to show up once you've got 14 other NPCs in town. So sometimes you've already built a whole city, and she's still missing. It becomes this little meme for players. When she finally arrives, it's like you just hit the jackpot. Bright pink hair, flashy outfit, and dialogue that's basically, life's a party, don't be boring. Her shop is a dream for anyone who loves decorations or goofy goofy events. She sells disco balls, fireworks, confetti, bubble machines, slime-shaped piñatas, even special furniture that turns your base into a literal party zone. Drop a disco ball in your house and suddenly NPCs start dancing. It's Terraria turned into a pixel nightclub. In 1.4, they expanded her inventory with even more unique items, plus some dialogue that references pop culture and internet memes. Old school fans remember waiting forever for her spawn. It really felt like winning a lottery when she finally moved in. And in combat, she throws confetti at enemies, which is as ridiculous as it sounds. But that's the whole point. Without the party girl, your Terraria world feels way too serious. With her, it's a party that never stops. Angler. The Angler is one of the few NPCs that actually feels like a character, not just a shopkeeper. You find him passed out by the ocean, and the second you wake him up, he's already bossing you around with fishing quests. Little dude in a hat, full-time troll. He'll ask you to catch stuff like bumblebee tuna or zombie fish, basically the weirdest thing swimming in Terraria. His quests change daily, and if you grind through them long enough, you start pulling in real rewards. We're talking fishing rods, the golden bug net, the high-test fishing line, and of course the legendary golden fishing rod after 30 quests. That's the best rod in the game, and he's the only way to get it. Old school players remember when his loot table was straight-up comedy. You'd spend all day chasing some rare fish, and he'd hand you a crate of potions or a carpet. Over time, the devs buffed his rewards, so now he actually feels worth the grind. The Angler doesn't sell stuff, doesn't fight, just stands there and complains. But if you're serious about fishing, you're stuck with him. Terraria without the Angler is like Skyrim without mods. It works, but it's way less fun. Stylist. To find the Stylist, you've got to dive into the spider caves. She's literally trapped in a web cocoon until you rescue her, and only then does Terraria get its makeover artist. Once she's free and moved into town, she basically runs the beauty salon of the game. You can buy scissors, hair dyes, and change your character's hairstyle, color, and even hair length. Her inventory is surprisingly huge, from simple cuts to wild looks, pirate braids, spiky anime hair, you name it. Over time, patches added even more styles, so now there are dozens. In hard mode, she goes next level with specialty hair dyes. Some react to the biome you're in, others to the time of day. Grab hallowed hair dye when you're in the Hallow, or slap on something that glows at night just for the flex. In combat, she's hilarious. She defends herself by throwing scissors at enemies. Not exactly endgame DPS, but hey, points for style. Players who love customization see her as essential. Terraria isn't just about grinding bosses, it's also about looking cool while doing it. Without the Stylist, your character feels like a random extra. With her, it's your hero, your style, your vibe. Demolitionist. The Demolitionist shows up once you've got explosives in your inventory, bombs, dynamite, anything that goes boom. And he's probably the happiest NPC in the game, because blowing stuff up is literally his personality. His shop is packed with bombs, grenades, and dynamite. Once you hit hard mode, he even sells explosives and rocket eye if you've got the right weapons. His dialogue is pure trolling. Half the time he's talking about how he wants to blow up your house, or how explosions can solve everything. Old players used to joke in multiplayer, if the Demolitionist was around, someone was definitely about to accidentally nuke the base. He's got some funny NPC relationships too. He loves hanging out with the Tavernkeep and Goblin Tinkerer. Guess chaos attracts chaos. But he bickers with the mechanic because, well, rival engineers. Their banter is classic. In combat, he loves grenades at enemies, which is both effective and hilarious to watch. Zombies don't stand a chance against a guy who treats explosions like therapy. But the best part, he speeds up your whole game. Digging tunnels with a pickaxe is for the patient. With the Demolitionist, you just toss some dynamite and let gravity do the work. Without him, Terraria would be nothing but sore wrists from mining. Dryad. The Dryad only shows up after you've beaten at least one boss. From that moment on, she becomes Terraria's eco-warrior. Her big role is selling seeds, herbs, and basically helping you manage your biomes. She's also the one who tells you the status of your world. Ask her, how pure is this world? And she'll give you the exact percentage of corruption or crimson. That number matters a lot before hard mode. Ignore it, and your world can turn into a nightmare real quick. Her shop changes with events. During a blood moon, she sells the bloody tear to summon another one. In hard mode, she adds planter boxes for easy herb farming, along with rare seeds and special consumables. Purification powder to clean blocks, grass seeds to regrow greenery, it's all on her. Old school players remember patch 1.2 when the devs really fleshed her out. Before that, keeping corruption under control was way harder. The irony is that the Dryad talks like a nature teacher giving lectures, but in combat she turns into a full-on druid, blasting enemies with green magic that actually deals damage. Terraria without the Dryad would feel less alive. She's the only NPC fighting for for the world itself, even if her dialogue sometimes sounds like a nagging PSA. Tavernkeep. The Tavernkeep shows up after you've beaten either the Eater of Worlds or the Brain of Cthulhu. You'll find him knocked out somewhere in your world, just lying on the ground, and once you wake him up, he'll move in. From then on, he's your main hookup for the Old One's Army event. This whole thing is a crossover with Dungeon Defenders 2, and he's the guy who kicks off the portals, the waves of enemies, all of it. He runs on a special currency, Defender Medals. He gives you a few for free the first time you talk to him, but after that, you've got to earn them in the event. With medals, you can buy unique sentry weapons and gear like the Ballista Rod, Flame Burst Rod, Explosive Trap Rod, and Lightning Aura Rod. And if you grind enough, you can upgrade them into even stronger versions. His dialogue is packed with references to Dungeon Defenders. Stuff like, "My tavern's been through worse," or "I've seen scarier waves than these goblins." Fans of both games eat that up. In combat, he chucks ale toss, basically lobbing beer bottles at enemies. It's as ridiculous as it sounds. The Tavernkeep brings a slice of another game into Terraria, and without him, hard mode would feel a lot less unique. Arms Dealer. The Arms Dealer spawns as soon as you pick up a gun or bullets, maybe a musket from a shadow orb, or even just a flintlock pistol. From that moment, he's your main hookup for ammo and firearms. His shop is stacked with early game essentials, the flintlock pistol, plenty of musket bowls, and of course the iconic mini shark. That little machine gun costs 35 gold, which feels brutal at the start, but it's the stepping stone to the mega shark. Later on, he adds silver bullets, crystal bullets, and even blank bullets so you can craft specialty ammo in hard mode. His dialogue is pure attitude. He constantly roasts your swords, brags about guns being the real weapons, and gives off major Doom Guy vibes. Old players still laugh at his edgy one-liners. He's basically Terraria's desert arms dealer straight out of a meme. He's got funny NPC chemistry too. He flirts with the nurse, which fans love to point out, while he bickers with the Demolitionist like rival weapons dealers. In combat, he uses a flintlock pistol himself. Not mini shark levels of firepower, but solid enough for an NPC. And honestly, Terraria wouldn't feel the same without him. Finding guns is cool, but it's even better when there's a guy hyping them up and selling you a mountain of bullets. Old Man. The Old Man is always standing at the entrance to the dungeon. At first glance, he just looks like a frail guard, but he's hiding a massive secret. Talk to him during the day and he'll mutter warnings about a curse and the dangers inside. But the real moment comes at night. Only then does he offer to lift the curse, and if you accept, Skeletron spawns. Basically, the Old Man is the trigger for one of Terraria's most iconic boss fights. Defeat Skeletron, and the dungeon fully opens up. The curse is broken, and the Old Man is freed, later reappearing as the Clothier NPC in your town. The whole vibe around him used to freak players out. Old school fans remember walking up to that creepy dungeon entrance for the first time, seeing this strange old guy telling you you're not ready and ignoring him, only to get obliterated by Skeletron seconds later. It felt straight out of a horror game. In combat, the Old Man doesn't fight. He's just the switch that summons Skeletron. But symbolically, he's huge. He marks the line between early game exploration and the deeper, darker challenges Terraria throws at you. Skeleton Merchant. The Skeleton Merchant is one of Terraria's weirdest NPCs because he never moves in. Instead, he just spawns randomly in caves, sitting in the dark with a lantern and a backpack full of goods. Running into him feels like a jump scare sometimes. You're mining ore, then suddenly there's a skeleton staring at you, asking if you want to buy something. His shop rotates based on the moon phase and time of day. He sells counterweights in different colors for yo-yo builds, the yo-yo glove for dual wielding, the magic lantern pet that lights up caves, bone torches, and other oddities. For yo-yo players, he's basically essential. What makes him fun is the personality. His dialogue is loaded with bone jokes and sarcasm. He'll say stuff like he's cheaper to maintain since he's all bones, or complain about other merchants like he's running a shady cave business. The Skeleton Merchant is never a permanent neighbor, but he adds mystery to Terraria. Finding him in the depths feels like uncovering a hidden Easter egg that reminds you the game always has more secrets lurking underground. McMoneypants. McMoneypants isn't your typical NPC. He's more of an inside joke from the devs. He shows up in journey mode as a vanity character through the Party Girls Party Center, or as a festive costume. Picture a businessman in a fancy suit and top hat with pockets stuffed full of cash. That's him. Functionally, McMoneypants is just an alternate skin of the tax collector. He doesn't run his own shop or have any special mechanics. Instead, he's basically the embodiment of the player who's stacked with platinum coins. His entire existence is fan service, a wink at the community. The Terraria fanbase turned him into a meme icon. On Reddit and forums, people joke that McMoneypants is the final boss of real life, since nobody's stronger than capitalism. Screenshots of him pop up with captions like, "Forget Moonlord, this is the real endgame." McMoneypants represents Terraria's playful side, showing that even after all the grind, bosses, and chaos, the game still knows how to laugh at itself. He's the ultimate punchline to the entire NPC lineup.